my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your Feel Good Breakfast show. Now, we all have unique ways and different ways of learning and applying ourselves. However, finding out what works for you will always, allow you to own your future. And here to delve more into the world of learning hacks are our panel of experts. We have educator Amida, we have Senzo, who's a tutor at Cape Town Tutors, and university students Chloe and Danielle joining us on the couch. Welcome to each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to start off with Amida and Senzo. As an educator and a tutor, you play a key role in making the students understand the work curriculum. But everyone has a unique way of processing the information and learning. So what are some of those different methods, and which type of student would benefit most from it?
Did you want to go first?
I'm happy to go first. So there's different ways in which one can study. So it depends also on the subject. So maybe if you're someone that's doing maths and trying to get ready for maths, diagrams is probably the way that you want to go, so more of a visual way and actually engaging with the work. Whereas maybe if you're doing something like history or you're doing something like economics where you have to retain a lot of information, then you need to use techniques that can help you to be able to retain information. So that includes things like when you're studying, then you read aloud and then you also repeat yourself. And then that makes you to be able to remember information more. So those are some of the study techniques that you can be able to use for different subjects.
I was one of those individuals. I found that the minute I wrote things down, I absorbed it, and I had to work with acronyms to remember bulk information. But perhaps, Amida, you have other techniques you found your students gravitate towards?
So he's just mentioned that, but for me, I think time management is most important. I think people juggle all the time, they procrastinate, they say, oh, let me get to this, or whatever the case may be. But like he said, acronyms works as well, but with languages, it's more, I feel that you should practice more. So past papers, cue cards and things like that also work very effectively. So testing yourself regularly. I feel like people or students, they in class, they on it, they know what's happening, and then in the exam, it's something totally different.
Okay.
So testing yourself really helps.
Oh, definitely. Now, I feel like we need to reach out to the students here who, is still in the heart of all of it and have to do study plans and schedules. What are some of the key things you keep in mind when do you even work out a little study timetable for yourself? Okay, I'm getting a nod from Chloe and a no from Danielle. So let's talk about your different study methods. How do you approach, an exam's coming up?
Okay, when exams starts, I would know when I'm starting to write. So I would start with, okay, I'm writing this subject on this particular day and plan according. So for the whole week, I would set up a timetable. I would look what comes first and what is last. So what I write on Monday and what I write on Friday. So Monday is obviously priority.
Yes.
Friday is, okay, I can still go through the things. And I would set every day a certain time limit for myself, like hour and a half, every day more than once, to go through work and then take it from there to see what I still need to go through and what I do know already and I don't need to go through.
Okay. How much time do you allow yourself before a test? Because I know you get some people that, the day before, I'm writing tomorrow, let me open my book for the first time. That doesn't work for everyone.
So I would take about 2 weeks to plan ahead. Okay, I have 2 weeks to study for this particular thing. I need to get to if I write on the 1st, I need to be done by the 1st and not the 31st.
I hear you. I hear you. Now, Danielle, I want to know your way of, you've got a test or an exam coming up. How do you prepare for it? Because everyone has their own way. There's no right or wrong way. It's what works for you.
So for me, about also say like a week before, I am a procrastinator, but like a week before, I make sure that I'm revising over old work so that when it comes closer to the time that there's nothing new that I have to be learning. And towards the end, like I'll say like 3 days before, that is when the grind of me doing past papers, and also I work a lot in like groups, so like in groups of friends, because you never know, like somebody might have a different understanding of something that just makes something click for you.
Okay.
And then those are the people that get you the marks in the exam.
Well, you know, you need that help. You need that community around you, whether you are sharing past papers, whether you're sharing techniques, or even just discussing topics. That's another way to retain information. Perhaps I can ask you, as one of the educators, I know you teach a language, but how can we help students? What methods are there to help them retain information?
I feel I must touch on to what you said again. There's different types of learners. So visual learners, people that learn with diagrams. That's myself. I love drawing, adding.
Mind map?
Mind map, definitely. I color code my things. So I know, okay, this is 2 marks allocated here, 3 marks over there. So sort of training my brain to know I need to pay more attention to this. And, you know, I don't need to go crazy over the next section. So I do feel, again, it's about planning.
Planning.
Planning, definitely. Yeah.
Senzo, any tips for the students embarking on their exams, year-end tests? You know, it's crunch time now.
Yes. Yeah, there are definitely tips. So there are students that are at different levels in terms of their performance. So there are students that are already performing and doing well, and perhaps they want to get that 80 to a 90 to a 95, whatever the case may be. So for those students, it would make sense to perhaps chuck down the topics and maybe highlight them that, okay, cool, these are the topics that I'm happy with, that I completely understand, and then classify some topics into topics that these are the topics that are difficult for me, and so I need to make sure that I work through them. And then you want to dedicate most of your study time towards those topics. And then for students that are not have a great year but still want to try and save the year, then in that case you want to sort of like focus on the topics that you know. So because it's pointless to focus on the things that are difficult when you're not able to grasp some of the things that are easier to you. So focus on those things and try to build up confidence there. So if you take maths, for example, there's typically the first question, question 2, it's typically the same, and it's typically the easier questions. So you want to make sure that you get a lot of marks there, and then when you go into the harder topics, you've already built up confidence in order to be able to do well there.
And you can take a little bit more time and make sure you get through it, work through it. Well, you guys are our panels. Thank you so much for joining us today. And for you, I hope we got to, you know, just teach you different ways, or at least show you that each individual, you know, studies and retains information differently. But it's all about finding out how you can do it. And that is proudly brought to you by BIOPLUS.